This lab is going to be used for your test project grade for this unit, so make sure that you're taking your time and getting it done, and do very quality work and make sure your calculations are good to go. So you're going to be testing how the height of a ramp affects the speed of a toy car, which you could also measure the angle as well, but I'm guessing that most of you won't have protractors, so you can just measure the height of how high you're setting the ramp. So I tried to make it so that the numbers are where you have to put in an answer or type into it. So number one, you're going to type your hypothesis based upon the height of the ramp. What do you think is going to happen? Remember, that can be an if-then statement. Then we've got materials are already listed. You'll have to figure out what you're going to use for a ramp. If you have issues figuring out what to use, then please contact me. But hopefully you'll be able to find something in your household or classroom that you can use. I use, for example, a board or a long cookie sheet could work. You're going to need books or supplies to raise the ramp's height. If you don't have books, figure out something that you can prop it up on. And then if you have to kind of tape it in place, do so. Toy car, stopwatch, or timing device. If you don't have a toy car, let me know. I have some that I could let you borrow as long as you bring them back. And then a ruler and measuring tape. So you're going to be setting the ramp up at 3 different heights. You can choose the heights, but be sure that you're recording the heights properly. So make sure you're measuring to the same point. So if you're measuring to the bottom of the cookie sheet each time, make sure you're consistent in how you're recording it. You're going to measure the length of the ramp, so where you're starting the car at to where you're going to stop your timing at, and record it in the table below. So that you're going to put here. Make sure that you enter it there. And make sure you have your label too. So if you're measuring in feet, make sure it's feet. If you're measuring in inches, put inches. If you're measuring in meters or centimeters, make sure you put those. You're going to set the ramp at a low height. Then you're going to measure the height of the ramp. Hold the car at the top of the ramp. When you have the stopwatch ready, release the car, but do not push it because that would affect your accuracy, and time how long it takes to get to the bottom of the ramp. The shorter your ramp is, the harder it's going to be to get an accurate time. And then you're going to complete 5 trials per height and repeat the steps for a medium and a high height. So we've got data down here where you're going to put, you've got your low height, your medium height, and your high height. You're going to put what those values are that you set it at. Then you're going to do your 5 trials, and then you're going to get your average time. So you're going to add the 5 trials together and divide by 5 to get your average time, and make sure you have your labels. So that should be probably in seconds. Your average velocity, you're going to take the length of the ramp up here and divide by the average time. So whatever your label here is, you're going to divide it by probably seconds. So if you use meters up here, it's going to be meters per second for the average velocity. If you had feet up here and seconds here, it's going to be feet per second for the average velocity. So make sure whatever you're doing, your label is accurate. Then we have the graph set up. I can't guarantee this graph is going to work once I have it copy the file to each of you. If it doesn't, we'll try to work that out as we go. Otherwise, you could do a chart on, or a graph on paper pencil, or you can make your own graph. But again, you're going to go to open source, and the only thing you should have to enter, as long as this works well, is putting in your average velocity for each height. And then you'll be able to go back, tell it to upload. The upload will come up once you change stuff. And then go ahead and come down here. And you're going to have a new statement. How will ramp height affect the acceleration of a toy car? You're going to type up a hypothesis for that. If-then statement again would be perfect. And then you're going to come down here. You don't have to collect any more data. All you're doing is taking the data from above to use this equation. I tried to make sure that all the equations were kind of in a different color highlight. So you need your final average velocity from the table above. So final velocity is going to be this one, because your starting velocity is what? You should be able to tell me. What is your car starting at when you start timing it? And then your time, which would also be your average time from up here. And then you'll be using this equation here to calculate your acceleration. And then below I just made them into I just put numbers in front of them. Make sure you can either take and write this all out as a paragraph, or you can just put in the spaces and type right after each one. Okay, but make sure, because it asks you to accept or reject your hypothesis for both scenarios, for the velocity one up here and for the acceleration one down here. So make sure that you're using your data and explaining why you accept or reject and your reason why. If you have questions on this, please let me know, because this is going to be worth a good part of your grade.